in this episode.
So, okay, how about this? Favorite romance film, Jeremy?
What kind of questions are these?
Welcome. You're listening to Paleo Cheese Podcast, episode 42, Publishing, Music, and Movies with Jeremy Wagner and Jarod Barbee.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeremiah Bannister.
And I'm Chad Lutsky.
And you are watching Paleo Cheese Podcast, part of the Project Entertainment Network. And Chad, we have another return guest and a new one.
Yes, we have Jeremy Wagner, guitarist for Broken Hope, author, and now press owner. And then we have Jarod Barbee, Death's Head Press. And we have these guys on here for mainly to talk about Stygian Sky Media, which you guys, I can't wait to talk about that. You guys started this. It's brand new. There's no books out yet, right?
Yeah, there's we've got one really close to in production, but yeah, right now we're in pre-production on everything. We've got some good names signed up. So
great. Okay. But first, I did have some shout outs I want to do really quick. One was I just finished this book today. I don't know if you see it, Hunter Shea, Creature.
Yeah.
I was pretty much blown away, man. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I really am glad that I read that, and it's awesome. That's I gave it 5 stars, man.
That's awesome. I love a good book recommendation. I haven't read that one yet.
Hunter's the man, you know.
Yeah, and I stayed away from, and I told Hunter this. I think the first time he was on here, I kind of stayed away from this book at first because I'm not really like a creature feature literature dude. You know, it's like I like to watch the movies, but when I'm reading it, I'm not big into like, you know, sharks and Bigfoot and stuff like that. And so I just thought it was some kind of creature thing, and it is, but it's not. It's so much more. It's it's a slow burn, and it's really good, man. So yeah, I recommend that. And then the other shout out was today in the mail. I got 2 things from Blaine Cook, the singer for The Accused. I've been listening to The Accused for 35 years or something like that. And
they're the intro to the show.
Yeah, they do the intro to the show. Yeah. And I've known Blaine for about 20 of those years. And I'll put links in here so you can get these, but some of the Accused stuff is getting re-releases, and so Martha Splatterhead's Maddest Stories Ever Told just got re-released on vinyl.
Love that album cover.
By Unrest Records.
I don't know if you can see that, but I've been taking inventory of my posters and flyers. Those are my
heck yeah, dude.
Legit old school off the wall from the show Accused flyers. So
very cool.
One thing you and I had in common, we like The Accused.
Love The Accused, man. One of my favorite bands ever. And he sent me the new toe tag, which if people don't know who toe tag, essentially The Accused by name. It's got 3/4 of The Accused. Doesn't have Tommy Niemeyer, the Accused guitarist, but it's got the rest of the guys. And this is like a discography. It's Brazilian release, and it comes with a sticker, which I was happy to see that the sticker was actually some artwork that I did for them years ago. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
cool.
So Blaine, man, thanks, buddy. That's awesome.
That's cool.
But yeah, those are my shout outs. So let me get to some questions here that I had for you guys. First of all, Jarod, with you already having a press, what did you want to start another press with this guy over here?
Man, because I'm a glutton for punishment. No, man. I've dealt with Jeremy for a few years. You know, he was in one of our anthologies. It's actually Rope Burns, but I had to change the name for Amazon to Obligator Voluptus because they had an issue with it. But he had the idea for some metal-based photo books because he's in tight with one of the best metal photographers in the business, and he had all these. He had this hard drive full of photos, and he wanted to start making books. And he called me and I asked if Death's Head Press would be interested in helping out and doing the production on it. And I said, well, that's really not our gig. but why don't we just start up our own little gig, you know, and do some books like that? You know, I think it would get more attention if it wasn't within Death's Head Press realm, because we're, you know, our brand is something entirely different. So it just really went from there. And from there, we just started Stygian Sky. I mean, it's pretty much that easy. And me and Jeremy, we see eye to eye on a lot of things, music. I mean, he doesn't like Lamb of God, but I'll not hold that against him. And so we just hit it off. And so far, man, it's been like a dream partnership. We work well together, and it's a pleasure to do it.
Okay, that's cool. So other than this this type of stuff, so I'm assuming that if you're going to do the one art book, you're going to do other, you know, type of stuff like that, photography or art or whatever. What as far as fiction?
We are. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, like, specifically as far as fiction, what is it that you're looking for? What is it you don't want?
Well, we don't want. You know, Death's Head Press already does extreme horror. We don't want extreme horror. We want dark fiction. We want crime. You know, noir. We want it to stay dark. We want memoirs. You know, we're going to do nonfiction memoirs of not dark people. You know, so we just want to keep it dark in our fiction, but we don't want to keep it extreme. We want to expand our audience. You know, to have a wider following. More people are going to read, and we just like the subject matter. Basically, I mean, crime noir it's pretty hot. You know.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And you know, I was thinking with all of this kind of like different things that you're, you know, like crime noir or something that's like dark fiction is different than, you know, having a book on photography. So it reminds me of like some of the presses that are like started out and still are indie, like Henry Rollins' 21361. He just has stuff that he likes and he wants. So it's whether it's poetry or whether it's like some fiction thing or some photography book or whatever, he just does what he feels like, you know, he wants to put out. Or like it also reminds me kind of of Mike Patton's Ipecac records, you know, same thing. It's like he'll put out something he's doing, put out something that is some band that you've never even heard of that sounds all whacked out, and then some Melvins or whatever.
Right.
It's just that, you know, it's not like, you know, like Metal Blade Records. It's like, you know, you're just going to get metal.
Yeah. Well, I think our business model or what we're going to do is pretty much what you just described. I mean, if we think it's cool, you know, and it's not exactly in the realm of what we've been doing, we're not going to let that stop us. I mean, we're just going to, if we think it's cool and we think that you guys are going to think it's cool, we're going to put it out, you know, and that's pretty much it. If it's cool, we want to do it.
I know this is a weird question, but like, have you guys heard the lullabies that are like Nirvana lullabies and stuff like that, where it's kind of dark sounding, right? But it's got that childish feel to it and stuff.
Right.
The analogy with music and with books and stuff like that. How far back would you allow for books? Like if there was kind of a dark children's book, right? Like with the pictures or the drawing style or the photography or anything like that, or teen young, you know, kind of young adult books, stuff like that. Is that also stuff you're looking for? Or is it mainly just for more mature audiences only?
I don't think that. I think if it was a really cool ass, you know, book like you're describing, I think we would consider doing it. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, young adult, even you know, preteen. I mean, we just want to get some cool shit in the hands of readers, whether they're just starting out reading. We don't mind putting out something for them, or if they've been reading for 40 years. You know, we want to hit everything from 6 to 60 and beyond. So
yeah.
So do you have one genre or subgenre that you think that you'll probably have more of, that like maybe the crime?
I think so. I think it's predominantly going to be the dark fiction crime noir. I think that's. I don't think you'll find many creature features in any of our releases to date so far. I think
it's like a fine line between like our personal tastes in fiction. Like what we want to do. Well, when I say fine line, there's books I've read that could be considered thriller, are really dark and effed up, and then really dark crime noir that's definitely effed up. That appeals to me. That appeals to Jarod. It's like sub labels of metal. There's all that people give it a name, right? So when we did our mission statement, we're publishing dark fiction, crime, thriller, noir, blah blah blah. A lot of that stuff is so incestuous and much the same. It's really just really dark fiction, no matter what. Like, it could be on a Cormac McCarthy level, it could be on a Thomas Harris level. Those brands of dark fiction. Now, when we say, we didn't want to do extreme horror because Death's Head Press and Deadite and all these other publishers are doing a great job with that. The same could be said about crime and dark fiction. There's a bunch of crime imprints, but I have a real passion for this type of fiction, and especially my new yet unpublished novel, tentatively titled Wretch, is kind of along those lines. It's not quite pure uncut horror, but it is like Thomas Harris, Red Dragon on steroids or something. So, so like that stuff appeals to us. Yeah. So, like the Chris Triana book we're putting out, and The Devil Cried, that's like right up my alley. That harkens to, that's like a modern day Lolita. It's right. Really screwed up. It's really dark. It's modern, of course, but I'm like, wow, it's about the voice of the author. And again, this is a funny statement to some people, but I like fiction that doesn't always have happy endings. For me personally.
Yeah. I like no fiction that has happy endings.
S.A. Cosby's Razor Blade Tears, and was so blown away by that book. Because of the level of violence, these ex-cons, bikers, this guy put together a story that was so unflinching, unapologetic, and did not screw around. I'm like, wow, this is that's what I'm talking about, Right. So that's the other thing Jarod and I talked about when I had this idea for this line of photo books and some other nonfiction. Nonfiction, when we talk about memoirs, like Jarod said, we're talking about memoirs that aren't boring. I don't know about you guys. I've read so many boring memoirs, especially from musicians and rock stars, that are just I can't finish them. I'm like, there's nothing here. I need something compelling. We want compelling stories. If they're going to be memoir, bio, even true crime stuff, we'd like to dabble in. So that's nonfiction stuff. And again, it's sort of like what you guys were talking about, like Rollins, even Jack White with his label. We do stuff we're passionate about in these areas. And with the fiction, if there wasn't a Death's Head Press or Deadite or Dark Regions or Cemetery Dance and all these guys, we'd probably take on a lot more horror. But right now, we're like, let's do something that no one else is doing. We're also doing some really cool limited edition hardcovers, signed, numbered, signed, lettered, whatever, that are really going to be awesome. We're talking it's not hype. It's straight up high quality, beautiful freaking books. We acquired a backlist of some big authors, actually, that will be announced in the not too distant future. But one of those authors, we have one of his biggest New York Times bestselling Stephen King gushing over novels. That's one of my favorite novels. Yeah. I believe we got it.
Wow.
We'll be announcing that, but we're kind of got our fingers in a few different things. We just want to always. What's paramount is the writer's skill. The story is paramount. The quality of the writing, and then the quality of the actual books that we put out. Everything's got to be top of the line.
Absolutely.
And Jarod, thankfully, Jarod, because of Death Side Press, sorry to cut you off, bro.
No, that's all right.
He brings that publishing owner experience. He's got the ties with, the bindery. He's got the ties. He's working on distribution. He knows books, marketing, that whole thing. I never thought I'd be on this side of the fence. I never wanted to be publisher. I'm a writer full time, but I'm so passionate about books and certain projects. And again, like Jarod said, Jarod and I are really tight. And it was his idea. Why don't we? I can't do this with Death Side Press, Jeremy. Why don't we do this together? I had the resources to make it happen. Jarod's got the experience, and he actually shoulders a lot of the work just because of his experience. And I'm very grateful to him for that. Plus, we got beta readers, and dude, in our little army, we also got a Sadie Hartman.
Yeah.
Our secret weapon.
You need a Sadie Hartman.
What is it?
Right.
Something where Iron Man in the movie tells Loki. Loki says, "We have an army," and he says, "Okay, well, we have a Hulk. We have a Sadie Hartman."
Right.
Yeah.
You have the Sadie Hartman.
The Sadie Hartman.
The Sadie
It's a
Hartman.
really great team and all this stuff, thanks to Jarod, and now we're off and running. So
Right.
It's cool. But that's kind of what we're about. You never know down the pike. Say, I don't know, hypothetically, say Richard Chismar was like, I want to sell Cemetery Dance. Maybe we'd acquire a horror line.
Right.
We won't create one, but maybe we'd acquire one if that ever happened. Because believe me, I'm a horror guy. Jarod's in the horror business, and I still write scary horror effed up stuff. So.
I don't want anybody to ever question the quality they're going to get from Stygian Sky, but I do want them to question what our next release is going to be. You know what I mean? I want to keep the readers on their toes. Like I want them to know they're going to get a quality product, but no telling what it might be. So we want to appeal to everyone a little bit.
Great. I was just thinking that crime, when we were talking about crime and noir and how it is horror adjacent. And it reminds me of, a lot of the horror audience, they've got no problem reading crime noir,
right?
Or crime,
right.
And it reminds me of, honestly, of it's like the Slayer of horror. It's like you out of the big four thrash bands, the hardcore kids and the punk rock kids might not like Megadeth and Metallica or Anthrax, but everybody likes Slayer.
Everybody loves Slayer.
It's like the crime noir.
Yeah,
that's a great analogy, Chad.
And it all overlaps. It's all an interconnected weave. So I mean, you can't go wrong with crime.
Even in film history,
absolutely,
even with the film history of that and how lighting developed with horror movies and with film noir and the use of shadows. Yeah, how that was brought in and stuff, and so even with different kind of art forms from Germany and things like that kind of gave the creepy dynamic to the background,
right?
And so so I mean, even in that, so it's coupled together.
You can make anything scary, if you film it right. Anything can be scary.
Yeah.
So, same with writing. Anything you can make any kind of writing creepy.
Right.
So we've all seen a lot of small presses like go under. What do you think is like the biggest danger of that, and like what's something someone should consider that you guys think someone should consider before even starting, other than not having this trying to be your income, because that's not going to happen.
It's definitely not going to happen right off the bat. I would say know your audience on who you're trying to reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Death Side Press, we have a certain audience, and we cater to what we listen to the feedback we get from reviewers, from fans, from readers, and we tailor our releases around what people want to read, and also what we think is cool. We'll throw some stuff out there that we think is cool, and if it doesn't work, we won't put it out again. But it's just know your audience, and above all else, you got to manage your expectations starting out. You're not gonna. You have a good idea for a book. It may not be a bestseller right off the bat. So you got to manage your expectations and treat your authors well, because they're going to be your bread and butter, and they're going to get the word out more than anyone about what you're doing. And if you're a scumbag and you don't pay them, or you pay them some little token fee, the word's going to get around, and nobody's going to want to work with you. And then you're going to go under. If you don't have anybody that is willing to work with you that can write really well, that is known, you are going to suffer for it.
That's something even I've learned. I'm not even a published author. And I've learned with this show, because you got the green room, right? You got before the show and after the show, and we have authors on all the time. And so you get kind of the rumor mill a little bit. It's the, what do they call it, man? Scuttlebutt. And so it's like around the old drinking fountain, talking and stuff. And one of the most common things is that I've heard is Chad talking with other authors about their experiences with different publishing companies. And some of them, I won't say which ones, but just they'll all be on their toes. Is it us? Right. No, but seriously, that there have been some that, haven't been too great about it. And it bummed the author out. And they're like, I've heard that too. So you're right. I mean, it gets around.
And also you gotta, if you're going to choose people to write, if you request a manuscript, when you go to edit it, don't edit their voice out, because you chose this person because they have a specific style, and sometimes during the editing process, you can lose that style if you try to over edit something. So what at Death's Head Press, we don't over edit. We allow the author to maintain his voice. We edit just as much as he wants it to edit. That's usually just grammar and punctuation and all of that. I mean, it's as far as the content, it's up to the author, and you got to give them a free hand at creating what they want to create, or it's not going to be as good as it can be. Yeah. So
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Otherwise, you end up getting the editor's voice in that book instead of the writer. Absolutely.
To your thoughts on indie publishers that have come and gone. Jarod and I talked about that in the very beginning, and there's so many indie publishers in the last 10 years. I'm talking about like specifically horror, actually, that have come and gone. A lot of people seem like they have a great idea. Like, I'm starting a horror publishing company. It's going to be called this. Like, I'll be like Jeremiah. I'm not going to name names, but I saw a guy on Twitter 2 months ago saying, I'm just letting everyone know I'm launching my own horror imprint. Oh my God, that's great. Woo, woo, nothing's ever fucking happened with this guy, and I never saw anything. People throw stuff like that out all the time. We've had, people hit us up. Oh, I had that idea that you guys had. Maybe you guys should do that. Like, I don't give a shit what your idea is. You never did it.
We're doing it, We're
doing it. And then I just want to mention this. We've seen publishers, unfortunately, who, as Jarod meant, were scumbags. They ripped off their authors. Some even kind of bullied authors that they had. I mean, unreal shit. You know what I'm talking about if you've been around. And then there's people that got hung up in cancel culture, and guys who sexted or sent messages. All of a sudden, now the fucking whole publishing houses, in jeopardy. This cancel culture stuff. So one, we don't plan on screwing authors over. In fact, me being an author, Jarod and I discussed this. We actually have a very nice, generous royalty rate like no one's got for authors. We've given an advance to authors. Jarod jokingly told the author today they'll never see the money off their books after that advance and stuff. He's just joking. Of course, we all want to see that.
Yeah, I was joking.
But we're in a unique position because I come in with the means and some wisdom and knowledge of a different perspective as a published author and someone who writes full time. And on a business level, Jarod's already got the experience in publishing. And what experience I have in publishing, I bring to the table. But I bring, frankly, I bring the resources financially to make it all happen. And we're like this little tiny startup that you'll see with full page ads and Publishers Weekly and shit. We're going to blow up our authors' books with a marketing plan like no one else has done. And to that end, guys, we don't want to fail and go by the wayside like all other publishers have. We want to put everything into it, see what sticks. We know our audience, like Jarod said. We're not just like, a couple excited house husbands who said, "Oh, let's be buddies and make a publishing house. This will be fun," and then it's going to be gone in a week. We're not. This is well thought out, and we really have solid direction on this. And we're always going to be great to our authors. And when that's going to get around, it's just going to take time. I mean, we're talking about shit that hasn't even happened yet. But in time, you're good to the people that write these books, they're going to tell other people about it. And, we don't plan on screwing anyone over or harassing anybody or bullying anybody.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
It's in the notes. It's like Tuesday. We're going after that one person.
And the best way to avoid trouble is to avoid trouble. Like on Twitter, just don't get involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're clear that a lot of drama's out there. I mean, it's like sometimes I go. Thing I hate about social media, like most of us normal people, is the drama. Yeah. You see a vague post that you can tell is just baiting for sympathy.
Right.
People, unfortunately, who are book reviewers, book bloggers, book fans, I see a lot of people that they're not talking about books.
Right.
They're talking about all this drama and clicky shit. You know what, man? I'm.
It's like they live off the drama. That's what they feed off of, and it's kind of sickening.
You don't see people from Simon and Schuster and Penguin on there, or even Cemetery Dance going, getting caught up in bullshit like that. Just don't subscribe to that stuff. We again, mission number one, putting out great books.
I mean, and if you got a problem with somebody, handle it privately. Don't handle it. Don't handle it where in the public eye, because nobody needs their dirty laundry aired, and have enough respect for the people that you're around and you're working with to take care of it in private.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So. And I'll tell you what, man, as an author, I'm always on the lookout for, I've self-published most of my stuff, and I've only worked with a handful of publishers. I worked with dozens with the, in the anthologies, selling short stories and stuff. But as far as like handling my books, I've only done that a handful of times. But I always have my eye open for one of the reasons why I don't submit my stuff to small presses is because I already know how to format. I can hire a cover artist, or I've done more than half of my covers myself. So, and as far as everything, I know how to, promote a little bit, who to send the stuff to. It's not like I make my book blow up, but I can tell by looking at other books, there a lot of small presses. It's like, well, I can already get my book to that rank or whatever that they've got that book. So why should I give them half my money to do what I already know how to do? So, but there are presses that I'm always looking for, and of course there's a list of things that it's not just about. Well, I can do everything they can do, but the number one this thing is the reach. You know, I want them to, if I'm going to sign with the press, they've got to be able to reach people that I can't,
Right.
or that it's going to cost me too much money to do.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's hard to do.
Yeah. And also another thing is I want to know that they're not going to use my book sales to pay their electric bill, and then I'm going to get paid on time.
Right.
And that we're going to have an honest relationship. And also the loudmouth on Twitter, I've worked with publishers before, and it's like, dude, do you understand that you have a brand? Why are you, I don't care if it's election year. Why are you doing this? You have a brand.
Right, man.
So shut your mouth, because you're costing me books. You're costing every author books, because you're losing half of your audience, whether you're right, left, whatever.
Absolutely. That's a good.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, man.
And when I heard you guys were doing something, that's why I got so excited, because for one, Jeremy, I know you got a couple dollars in your pocket, so we don't have to worry about paying your bills with the royalties, other people's royalties, and not getting to them. Jarod, you've already done all this with Death's Head Press, not for a long time, but you put plenty enough books out to know what you're doing.
Yeah, we got 45 out now.
Yeah, and then you get you got your secret weapon with you.
Yes.
And it was just Mother Horror, your John Paul Jones, if you will.
Yeah,
and then and then you it just that excited me right off the bat. I was like, this is a small press that's probably going to work. And so
we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. And that I just had one other thing to add. With the quality of stuff, even book covers. Chad, Jeremiah, they're really important to us, and we're gathering a stable of reliable and stellar artists who are doing book covers, and that's important. And we're trying to do things on a traditional level too. Like you have a hardcover, and then you got cover artwork for that, and then you have a trade paperback with a different cover, same book, and then dabbling in other stuff. We're even talking about trying to do some of these mass market paperbacks. I know, Chad, you did a poll about that long ago, and I was like, oh my God, Lutsky's tweeting about this. I just had the conversation about this with someone like, I think the day before or something. So it was really ironic you had posted that. So, but yeah, my point is everything across the board from, again, the story, the author, the actual physical book, to the artwork, to even the narrators for audiobooks, to who we hire, like for our accounting and to do publicity and everything in between. Only the best, we're across with everything.
And you're not, as of right now, you're not doing any kind of open calls, right?
No, I don't think we're going to be there. I don't think there's going to be many open calls. I think we're going to be mainly an invite only press. I mean, we may do one now and then, just like our anthology Mean Streets. We invited everybody, and you included. So Chad's going to be in our anthology.
Well, my thoughts on that, just real quick, will be I think after it's something I'll discuss with Jarod at some point, but after we get like the first few books out and we get like the backlist stuff we acquired and we got a schedule and this stuff's coming out left and right, maybe we'll follow like Tor Night Fighters game plan where one day we'll go, hey, we're having open submissions are welcome, because you never know what you're going to find. And then people just have to query, or if they have an agent or themselves, that I don't know. Again, we haven't even had that conversation. Maybe unagented and agented queries, something like that. You know.
Well, let me clarify. I'm not against open submissions, and I'm just not every one of our things is going to be open submission.
You're taking advantage of the opportunities that you have right now and worrying about those and these ones that you reached out to. Yeah, that's
right.
That's
and once we get established and people know the name Stygian and Sky, that's when we'll, when we can take a young author that's maybe not known and maybe build him into something. But if the press doesn't have a good name already, it doesn't really do an author any good to publish with them because nobody's gonna know about it.
Right.
So that's my feelings on it. I mean, and sometimes open calls can be daunting. I dealt with that with Death's Head Press. When we first started out, it was all open call, and you get buried very quickly.
Yeah.
And then you have a hard time with me. Any email I get, I like to respond to. And it just starts coming in so fast that you can't properly manage it all and do maintain the quality that you want to maintain because, you're moving in 6 different directions.
Right.
So.
We just between what Jarod and I have done and even Sadie brought a couple authors to the table. We signed authors that were doing books on a nonfiction line and the fiction line. Mm-hmm. And when I take a step back and think about it, we got a lot of shit going on,
already, yeah.
Coming out. And then on top of that, I was just talking about it, I'm like, wow, shit. We have like I said, again, the backlist stuff we got was like, fuck, that was a huge friggin' win. It's a huge deal. But with all of that, on top of all that, I personally, just because of the website for Stygian Media, I got queries already. Mm-hmm. Hey, dear Mr. Jeremy, I wanted to query you about my book, blah, blah, blah. And it's sort of surreal for me because that's what I fucking do. I send out query letters to agents,
And everything you get, you be polite and answer it.
And we actually had a major publisher, Jarod will remember, we were looking to do a limited edition hardcover of a book that came out, and then we kind of backtracked and said, nah, it's just not. It wasn't worth it at the time. But the publisher who put that book out, they came back and said, hey, we got all these other titles. These are available. Would you want to put them out? Which one was really cool to have a publisher of that level asking us if would you be interested in these? We'd love to have you put them out as limited editions. Unfortunately, the books they offered were like fantasy, so it's not really our thing, but it was still pretty cool. And Jarod and I were like, man, we haven't even put a damn book out yet. And
people it's like signs of things to come, though, right?
Right, it is.
Yeah.
I think big things are around the corner.
Yeah. Me too. So, it's great. It's just exciting times, and appreciate you guys having us on to talk about it because I think Jarod and I have done only maybe 2 other podcasts, and it's great to be able to reach people and talk to them about what's to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Well, and this is the Kingmaker Show.
Oh, the Kingmaker Show. Right on.
It's the Kingmaker.
I like that.
For our dozens of people who listen.
Right.
They're like, that's the best show. Yeah.
I after doing your podcast last time, I was in USA Today, top 5 best sellers.
That's what I'm saying. Saying.
You guys changed my life.
Right on. Let's get this started. Yeah.
Do you guys have anything that you can announce?
Well, of course, we got the Triana.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the contract we can, we can't really announce. We'll let y'all in on what contracts we've signed.
Yeah. Tell them who we signed.
So we've got, I know y'all are familiar with Ronald Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
guy.
so
Mhm.
we're gonna do sort of a horror tips and stuff / memoir called Southern Fried and Horrified with
Yep.
Ronald.
Yeah.
We've got a 2-novella book coming out with Eric LaRocca, who's really hot right now.
Yes.
Super hot. And then Ross Jeffrey, his Tome, his Juniper, and as of yet unreleased conclusion to that trilogy called Scorched. We're releasing those in some mighty fine hardcovers, and I think you are going to be really pleased with.
We're doing some really really cool and unique things with cover artwork and stuff that ties that trilogy together. It's going to be pretty cool.
That's great. It's so ironic that you named those 3 people because all 3 of them asked me for blurbs in the past year.
Yeah.
And I happily gave them. I don't if I can find the time, I love to do that. Or sometimes I just won't because I don't want to be the guy that's like the yes man.
Right.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I read LaRocca's collection. Amazing thing that's coming out. I can't remember who's putting it out, but it's coming out soon. And
Is
then,
Weird Punk putting it out again?
No, they are not. And I wish I could remember who's doing it. I feel horrible that I can't. I can't barely remember the name of the book. And then Ross Jeffrey, I just read his Hostage. Can't remember who's putting that out either. And then Ron Kelly with his Essential Sick Things. I think that was Shamrock. I think Silver Shamrock.
Yeah, Ronald's been in the game a long time, so
yes.
I think everybody is going to really like what he has to say when he goes down memory lane, and lets you know what he's been up to,
And what a huge comeback the man has made. I mean, he's just releasing stuff, just tons of it in the last year or 2.
It's good to see, man. Good things happen to good people. If
he is a good person.
If you're a decent dude, you're going to go places, and that's all you really got to know in this. Respect people, and you're gonna get it given right back to you. Treat people well.
And the one other guy we signed, the guy who kind of was the catalyst for Jarod and I putting together Stygian Sky Media, is photographer Gene Ambo, legendary photographer. He's shot everybody, but 95% of what he's shot over the last 35 years has been rock and metal. So, I mean, his archive is so huge and so great. I mean, we could get 15 different metal photo books out of him. But the first one we're doing with him is about a famous club in Chicago called the Metro. And the Metro has been around 39 years. And just yesterday was the 39th anniversary. And Gene was in there, man, since 1982 or 83. So it's called... The working title is called Heavy Metro, and it's all punk, hardcore, and metal bands that played there. But most of them are 80s and 90s. So, for example, we have images of Slayer, first time they ever played Chicago. It was at the Metro. Metallica, first time they ever played Chicago at the Metro. Old Corrosion of Conformity, Pro Mags, The Exploited, GBH, Life Sentence,
Celtic Frost,
Life Sentence,
Celtic Frost, everybody in between, Voivod, you name it. This book is, in one respect, it is sort of a regional thing because I mean this club is a famous club in the Midwest, but it also has this flip side of an international appeal. One, because everybody's played there, and then 2, because of the bands that first came through there. Look where they are. I mean,
yeah.
It freaks me out.
Much bigger than Metallica. I mean, or to see Old Corrosion of Conformity.
That's awesome.
To see the Circle Jerks and the Exploited, like back in the. I mean, this book is going to be phenomenal. So, So that's our
freaks me.
first nonfiction thing.
Is it going to be one of the hardcovers, like almost like a coffee table book, like one that you'd want to just leave out so that people can just check it out?
Has to be, man.
That's
We're-
absolutely.
Yeah, we're talking about the dimensions of the damn book today, right, Jared?
Yeah. I don't know if
It's
y'all.
long. It's going to be long.
Yeah, that's what she said.
And-
So I don't know if y'all have seen that picture book, the Metallica Back to the Front. I don't know if y'all.
I haven't flipped through it, but I know what you're talking about.
Right, we're going for about that size right there, where you can get some really nice double page spreads. Of good, stage scenes and crowd scenes. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool book. Jeremy's doing all the wording in it. We've got a talented lady in London called Daniela Bathsheba who's doing our. She's helping us put it together. So it's gonna be something special. Yeah, and that's definitely a learning experience doing a book like that, coming from a fiction background. So we hope
that's a new one. That's new for both of us.
Yeah, so
we're like, there's a big learning curve. But after this one, with the other content we're sitting on with the great Gene Ambo, man, I'm telling you, we're excited, and it all goes hand in hand with what we're passionate about, and we hope a lot of other people out there will be as passionate about these books as us.
And we're gonna have some really cool memoirs from some really cool people. I know Jeremy knows the one I'm talking about, but it has nothing to do with horror, and it is going to be, and it's not, it's just going to blow you away. So
That's
blew me away.
The photographer, it sounds like another Glenn Friedman who did a lot of that early punk stuff, and Black Flag and all.
I talked at Glenn Friedman's camp before because I was trying to acquire some Slayer photos. He did, like the photos for Rain and Blood and South of Heaven, Slayer, and then all that punk and skateboard stuff.
Yeah.
So I love Glenn Friedman's work. So and in Ambo, Gene Ambo's from that era, Chad.
Oh, really?
Gene's a really cool dude.
Gene's had so many friggin' pictures published in Kerrang magazine. It ain't even funny. But he's never done books before, so he's sitting on gold like people have never seen.
Right.
He's probably got some pictures in this book that I've had hanging on my wall when I was a teenager. Because you remember when you would take the pictures at a circus or Kerrang, and you would put it on your wall, man. And I'm sure I'm going to see some of those photos from Gene, and it's going to be like, whoa, bro.
Jeremy, it weirds me out that you mentioned Life Sentence, man. Nobody ever talks about Life Sentence. I love that band.
I figure you would know, man.
Oh yeah, dude. I saw them in a basement. Here in Battle Creek.
Okay. Yeah,
basement show.
Was it the Cornflake basement?
It was in the Cornflake City.
Yeah,
it was. The Chicago band.
Had a leather jacket for a while in like '85 with a Life Sentence sticker on his sleeve all the time.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I think it was Lars. Somebody had a Life Sentence shirt back in the '80s. Metallica, and then I saw a poster of Metallica that I think I used to have, and Lars had a Plasma Alliance shirt, which is another band nobody talks about that was on. They weren't a local band, but they were on my buddy's local label, Depression Records, out of Battle Creek. And
I was gonna say, Gene has a band I think they're called. I might have the name wrong. Puss. And they're going to be in the Metro book, and no one's ever heard of them. But he was adamant they had to be in the Metro book because they were a Chicago side project of guys from like Life Sentence and I think E-Trope and someone else like maybe Barry Stern from E-Trope, who later became the drummer of Trouble. But one of the Life Sentence guys I know for sure. But the Metro took him in and fucking here's the local Chicago punk supergroup or whatever, And, it was short lived, but Gene's like the only guy who photographed it. So
it's like the Probot of the Metro.
But I just wanted to mention that, Chad, because you were talking about that that basement show or whatever.
Yeah.
I was trying to get kind of a visual here of the product dimensions for that back to the front, and even for the audience in case they aren't familiar with that. Man, 11.6 width by 10.3 height.
That's
I mean,
right.
you're talking.
So-
that's a serious book. You can go on and see pictures of the members of Metallica reading it, and it's in their hands. This thing is luxurious.
That is a it's a
it's
fucking nice book.
Yeah,
It's a nice
Yes.
book.
For people that don't know, watching Paleo Cheese, back to the front is a Metallica book that's dedicated to the complete Master of Puppets era cycle, the tour cycle, the recording of the album, everything. It's a time capsule of the Master of Puppets era of Metallica's life, and it's
Fantastic.
It's an extraordinary book. By the way, that author who did Back to the Front. Well, first, let me rewind. If you check that book out, that's the dimensions we're aiming for with our photo.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Matt Taylor, the guy who did the Back to the Front book, also did the most amazing, like, making of Jaws era book, maybe in a Jaws nut, called Memories of Martha's Vineyard,
Oh yeah.
which is another gigantic book. And if you're a Jaws fan, holy crap, get your hands on that book too. It's phenomenal. It's just
That's awesome. Jeremy, I know you got to go, so I've got this like speedy questions,
yeah,
quick,
sure.
quick
Yeah,
answers.
I started a little late. I wanted to give you an hour for sure. So go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, Jeremy, we'll start with you, Jarod. So, as soon as you didn't get done answering the question, Jarod, answer the question.
All right.
Favorite horror movie other than Jaws or The Thing?
You start. Oh, you. Oh, you. Oh,
Oh, come on.
oh.
It's on the spot, the moment of truth, man. Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. What's funny about that question too? Not only do you got me on the spot, but I'm in a new house and I'm still waiting to have crap moved in here. And I was on my phone showing my wife photos like of all my horror movie posters and like, please, honey, let me squeeze these framed movie posters into our new home theater. She's got a bunch of art and shit, so it's like this whole give and take thing. But I was looking at those posters, and I'm going, God, I love that movie. God damn, that movie's the best. And so, like, Chad, I don't know how to answer because, like, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like the movie posters, and these are aside from Jaws and The Thing that I can't. I love them so much. I don't know, bro. It's hard to do.
Pick one, goddammit.
The Howling, The Exorcist, The Funhouse, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, The Omen.
Too many answers, Jarod.
Yeah, that's way.
I mean,
You're
oh,
cheating.
dude, I don't know what to say, dude. Oh, Halloween, for fuck's sake. The Fog.
Oh my God, this is out of control.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I'm going to interject here because he's stolen all the good movies.
It's like if I had, if I'll use this screwed up analogy. My maternal grandmother had 10 children, including my mom.
Yeah.
So let's say Jaws and The Thing were the first two were born out of my 10 children litter. Okay, those two were immediately my favorites. But I love all my children, so
You can't pick one.
it means something to me.
Yeah.
I've got children too.
Because my head's spinning like, oh, how do you, what do I say? Because they're, I don't know. There you go. Hey,
Yeah.
anything, the horror movies I love are all from the 70s and 80s. So,
Right.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with two. I've got to give two answers
You got
as
me,
well.
bro. I didn't see that coming, dude. That's hard to answer.
You didn't see favorite horror movie
From
coming?
Chad.
No.
Chad.
All right.
Come on.
I'm going to go with two answers. I'm going to go with my childhood favorite, which was Salem's Lot. I really dug that.
Yeah, that's a great one, Jared.
Yeah.
You cannot steal. It's too late for you.
You're cut off.
All right. So, in my modern day favorite, I think is The Collector. I really dug that.
That's a good one.
That
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. So I really like the slasher gore, like the Saw films. I'm really into those. I I like those kind of films. I love Friday the 13th, of course. Who doesn't? I can't stand Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's the franchise I wish would just go away. I know
I'm not a big fan. The first one was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. So I'm gonna go with Salem's Lot and the Collector.
Wait, bro, wait. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you don't like Friday the 13th.
No, I do. I do like Friday the 13th.
I mean, I'm sorry, you don't like Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I'm sorry, I misspoke.
No, I don't.
But you said the other day in a podcast we did that you love the entire Friday the 13th franchise.
I did. Every single one of them.
You like Jason X when the
you
like Freddy Krueger
and Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason X is about as fucking corny as you can get.
All right. That's true. Jared's like I am. He wants his serial killers to shut the F up.
Right. I don't need to
mouth off a bunch of one-liners.
There's a certain I understand.
So the best Nightmare on Elm Street was definitely Freddy versus Jason. We all know that. So
I love that one. I laughed so hard when I watched it.
Right, it was hilarious. And see, I like the campy humor of the later films in the series for Friday the 13th. And there's some humorous moments in Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just not my cup of tea. I can't say I hate it and I want it to go away because I know there's a lot of people that love it and I support them 100%. It's just not my gig. I'm into the silent, fucking brutal types. So that's it.
Jeremy, let's see. Least favorite Slayer record.
Oh my God.
Yeah, real easy. Repentless, the last one.
Really? Okay.
Hanneman wasn't on it.
What about you, Jared?
My least favorite Slayer album?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would have to go with Repentless as well.
Really?
I think they lost a step on that album. I don't like the mix. I don't like the mixing in it.
The reason why I'm surprised, it's not that that's my favorite or anything, but Show No Mercy and Hell Awaits for me. I'm just like, those are really my last. In fact, which is the one that has Black Magic on it.
Show No Mercy.
Show No Mercy.
Okay, so Hell Awaits is my least favorite.
Well, I mean, those are raw albums. You know what I mean? They're working on an ancient soundboard. And you're playing metal, and I really dig some metal like that. It's just like with my Iron Maiden, I prefer Killers. I prefer the early Maiden because it's got that raw edge to it.
I get that.
With Hell Awaits, I don't like the whole album, but man, that goddamn intro to the album and going into Hell Awaits, man, before it really kicks in fast, that is so goddamn heavy.
I just feel like Slayer hadn't found their voice yet.
Oh yeah, they were still searching. It's funny you mentioned Killers, by the way, because man, talk about a band transcending generations and generations. Oh. My stepson's 26. And his favorite band since he was a kid was Iron Maiden. And his first tattoo at age 18 was the Killers album cover, half sleeve on it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I just wanted to mention that because, they're still like, people love them now. New kids. Yeah. New kids on the block.
Now, Chad, you asked our favorite Slayer album. Now, this is a bone of contention between Jeremy Wagner and Jarod Barbee is our favorite Slayer albums because we really disagree on this.
Oh yeah, what's your favorite?
Go ahead, Jarod. Tell them what your favorite Slayer album is.
The best Slayer album is God Hates Us All.
Yeah,
by far.
I don't agree with that one.
Come on, Jarod. Bye.
He's out.
There are only two answers to that. There are only two answers that can possibly be given.
I know Rain and Blood. You're going to say Rain and Blood.
South of Heaven or Rain and Blood.
Yeah. If you like that.
I had two things to say.
Yeah.
Two answers.
Of course you have two answers.
One Jarod.
Our partnership is dissolved.
Two, Rain and Blood, man.
No, of course.
No, Chad, you're right, dude. For me, it's Rain and Blood and South of Heaven too.
Yeah.
I just like the raw intensity of God Hates Us All. I think I think the songs on there are really brutal, you know, and well mixed.
So, okay, how about this? Favorite romance film, Jeremy?
What kind of questions are these?
Yeah, where did you get this?
I don't know.
I know Jeremy's really. I know he's an open-minded dude. I know there's a romance movie he loves.
Chad, I am open-minded, and I am a hopeless romantic. No bullshit. I really am.
I believe it.
Well, the first one that comes to mind is kind of messed up, but
Like Boxing Helena or something.
yeah, I remember that one.
That was a horrible movie. Oh my god!
It's dark. It's noir. You remember that movie, The Postman Always Rings Twice?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange. Holy
Yes,
shit.
that's a great movie. Great
that
movie.
one. I mean, there's romance, but that's dark. Talk about noir and shit. That one's really good. But like,
Never been kissed.
I've been.
I'm waiting for it.
Say anything.
Oh wait, hang on.
Sleepless in Seattle.
I like Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah.
Jerry Maguire. When I first saw it, I remember when you've all seen Jerry Maguire?
Yes.
Yep.
Tom Cruise and shit.
Yep.
So when he
You had me at
the
hello.
movie. Yeah, dude, that scene when I first saw it kind of got me. I'll admit, I'm like, oh, that's really sweet, you know. But there's one other movie, Jeff Bridges, Against All Odds. You guys remember that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Great fucking theme song too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more, but I don't like fucking romance novels or fiction, but there are romance done right in movies can get to me. And in my personal life, I am a hopeless romantic. I mean, I was fucking writing poems to girls in grade school that I was never.
It helps that you've got a cool wife.
Fuck girls that cooties.
Yeah.
I was a little boy that's like,
Oh yeah,
girls.
Give me all the girls. Yes,
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So that's a great question, Chad. No one has ever asked me that. So,
What about you, Jared? You got a favorite?
All right, so my favorite
my
romance.
name's Jarod, and Smokey and the Bandit's my favorite. My favorite romance movie.
It's a damn good romance, but I'm gonna go with it's a romance, but it's also it has a darker side. It's called Jason's Lyric.
Yep, I remember that
one.
Yeah, it was filmed in Houston, so it has a soft spot in my heart. But I thought it was a really good, gritty, at its heart, romance story.
Okay.
So.
Now, Jeremy, for this next question, I know you're really good friends with Charlie Benante, so I'm gonna put you on the spot here with this one.
That's all right. Yeah, he's my bro. I love Charlie. He doesn't live far from my house here in Chicago Burbs, and he's a huge Jaws fan too. In fact, I sent him like here. Actually, since we're talking about Charlie, let me just share this with you. You guys might get a giggle out of this. We always send each other Jaws shit, and then so I sent. If you guys can you see
Barely.
that?
Is it Jeopardy?
Yeah, it looks like Jeopardy.
Yeah. It's Quint, Brody, and Hooper on Jeopardy. I just thought that kind of really friggin' stupid and funny. So anyway, it was Charlie related. So there you go.
Okay, so all right, here you go. Because he's been involved with both, you got to choose one of these: Fistful of Metal or Speak English or Die.
Speak English or Die. No doubt about it.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Jared?
I'd have to go with SOD too. Speak English or Die, man.
Can't go wrong. I was gonna say Spreading the Disease or Speak English or Die because I feel like that's a tougher call.
It is. That's a very much harder call.
In fact, Scott Ian just posted yesterday he's been posting like because it's like Anthrax's 40th anniversary.
I've been watching all the docu
Yeah, those are great, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love them too. And Scott Ian has been posting on his personal accounts. Here's my favorite Anthrax riff. So yesterday, he goes, I'm going to play you one of my favorite riffs. I know it's not technically Anthrax, but, whatever. Him and Charlie made it's an SOD thing, and it was March of the SOD riff.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's so sick, man.
It doesn't really get heavier than that, man. That riff. I mean, that's quintessential metal. If you,
it's 80s metal.
Yeah, Charlie's been really good to me. He knows I love SOD, and he gave me a SOD skate deck. I'm not a skateboarder, but I got it hanging on a wall. So, man, that album is so goddamn good. Especially for a guitar player. I love riffs, and heavy guitar tone, and that album still stands the test of time,
Yeah, I remember I bought I got it when it came out. I think it was 84, right? 84. I think
84, 85.
Yeah.
I
was 14 and I got the tape, I think it was, and I also had the t-shirt. I bought a t-shirt. World Schism Tour t-shirt.
Yeah, World Schism,
Yep. So, okay, let's see. Paperback or hardcover?
Preferred?
Yep.
Oh, go ahead, Jared.
I'm going to go hardcover. I mean, all day long.
Yeah, hardcover for me too.
Collecting or to read?
Both.
I buy the paperback to read, and I buy the hardcover to collect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I buy both. I acquire hardcovers, and then I never get rid of the damn things. I got an insane friggin' library.
That's how you have like 6 editions of Jaws.
Right.
Yeah.
We saw your library last
I got the first Jeremiah. I got the first edition hardcover Jaws.
If I don't have to crack the spine, I don't want to crack the spine. That's
And then I've got I collect limited edition hardcovers on top of the regular, retail hardcovers I buy. All the Stephen King shit I had to have from Cemetery Dance. I mean, they're just so gorgeous and stuff like that, and then other authors too. But
right.
I don't know, hardcover. There's something about it, but I will say this: I still have a super soft spot for mass market paperbacks. Not trade paperbacks, mass market paperbacks.
Absolutely,
it's just a thing with me. I don't know.
We're gonna bring them back.
It's like that old saying: you can take old Jarod out of Houston, but you can't take Houston out of Jarod.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I tell you, there's just something about being able to slip that book in your back pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And walk off with it and have it with you. You know what I mean? Because a trade paperback, you can't do that. You have to put it like in your waistband, and then it gets all sweaty, and you run the book. So there we go.
Okay, I got 2 more for you. Overrated musician, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Hang on now. Hang on. A few come to mind, but I'm gonna go off on. I don't know if he's overrated or not, but I saw a live performance of him, and I know some people who interacted with him recently at a festival. I'll just say Aaron Lewis is Stained.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't give a fuck about himself.
Yeah.
He just he looks unhealthy. He doesn't give a shit about. I don't think he cares about his fans. It's like
I don't think so.
Him playing on stage, and his attitude is like he looks like he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah,
but it's his bread and butter. But he goes on stage. You talk about alienating people too. He's got a fuck Biden shirt on.
Yeah,
and I don't know, man. That shit just. He still draws the crowd and whatever.
Yeah.
But, And I can't take anything away from his talent early on. I think he was super talented, but he's a guy now that I think is just going fucking through the motions and just showing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I
answers your question, because there's a lot of overrated musicians, you know.
Yeah, especially these days, man. Especially these days. What about you, Jarod?
All right, I'm gonna have to go with a 2-part here because it's as far as a band, and the band had some great moving parts in it, but Led Zeppelin, I don't really. I think that their music was pretty overrated.
Oh no!
Oh,
no!
Why?
Yeah. See you later.
Yeah.
We're done.
As far as single musicians, it'd have to be Phil Anselmo.
Really?
He doesn't impress me.
Okay, now does that because he can't really sing anymore, or just
because he's a dick? And I went to one of his shows. It was a horror film deal that he was doing.
Yeah.
When I went to go see the King Diamond, it was in 2015, the Abigail tour, the 2015 Abigail tour, and he was there with Down, and he was just rude. And I mean, his voice, he sounded like shit.
Oh yeah.
And I really love Pantera. I think as far as a band, Pantera was spot on for the time that they were out. But as far as a human being and just somebody who cares about his fans and stuff, I think Phil Anselmo's got it in my book.
So it sounds like you have a biased opinion.
Yeah, I do. I mean, his talent has waned over the years, but you know, people's do, and I have to admit, for his time, he was a super talented vocalist because nobody had that Phil Anselmo growl at the time, you know, and it was hot shit, you know. But I just don't like the way he treated his fans, and he just treated the people around him.
I'm going to answer this question too, just because every chance I get to talk trash about this musician, I do. So I think the most overrated musician on this planet is Nikki Sixx.
Okay,
the guy's a horrible bass player. I could play that my first year of playing guitar.
Right. I mean, well, Motley Crue's bass lines were never anything complicated. So
I know, but
questionable.
But we're talking like the spotlight is so huge on that dude.
Right.
That for the little bit of talent. I mean, we got locals here that could just. But yeah, that's my thing, and I don't know.
We all know who the greatest. We know who the greatest bass player of all times was, and I think we can all agree it was Cliff Burton.
Okay.
Here's what,
hey, Glenn.
I agree. He's one of them.
Jump out this fucking window if you said something else.
No, dude, you know I'm going to say Cliff, man.
Always, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The greatest.
Okay, here's one. It's this ironic that I got written down here, Jeremy. It's probably going to be hard for you. You can only have 2 pieces of art on your wall. One of them has to be a movie poster, and the other an album cover. What are they?
Oh man.
The piece of art either has to be a movie poster.
You can have two. One has to be an album cover. One has to be a movie poster.
Oh, okay. Riddle me this, Chad. Could technically the original artwork for a movie poster be what I have, or does it have to be?
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
I got it for you, bro.
Okay.
I got it for you. And get this. These are two pieces of art that right now are completely missing. No one knows where they went. They're both worth a fortune, respectively, in their own lane. And if I ever can get my hands on them, that would be a dream come true. But their whereabouts are unknown. I'm going to start with the movie poster. The original artwork for Jaws.
Oh.
The painting by Robert Castell.
Dude, you just made your answer like full level sitting around a campfire horror story, creepy, intense.
Yeah,
right.
Man.
Yeah.
We're like, he just needs the
I'm
flashlight. Yeah, he needs the flashlight right now.
He turned in that artwork to Universal Studios. He's never got it back, and no one knows what the fuck happened to it. And that's since 1974. The next piece of artwork, album cover related, Rain and Blood album cover.
Yeah, I knew it.
I want that. It's missing. No one knows where it went after the artwork got turned into Def Jam Records back in the day.
Rick Rubin's sitting on it.
Yeah.
See, I heard it was stolen. I've tried tracking this thing, and I've heard from different camps that aren't even related that it was stolen. Where it is, no one knows. But the closest I ever got to the Rain and Blood painting was I went to the Hanneman house, unfortunately, after Jeff passed away. And his widow, Catherine, great person, friend of mine, she had, Jeff had some kind of, made from the original artwork off of like something that a record label back in the day with their old processes of whatever, scanning or doing a negative of artwork to go on an album cover.
Mm-hmm.
He had that, without the logo or anything. It was like the closest thing to a clone of the original artwork. And I got to see that in person, which was really cool. But that painting, the artist, by the way, is Larry Carroll. Larry Carroll also did South of Heaven, Seasons in the Abyss, and Christ's Illusion.
Yep.
Anyway, so
yeah, good choices.
But that's it. That's my answer.
What about you, Jared?
All right, I guess for movie posters, I would have to go with an old one, The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
That's a cool poster.
Yeah, I like that poster a lot. And then I'm going to go with pretty much a classic T-shirt album cover, Butchered at Birth by Cannibal Corpse.
Oh boy,
that is one of my favorite album covers.
It is. That's a great album cover. Great T-shirt. It really offends my wife, so I love to wear it everywhere I go. But yeah, those would be. Are you talking in your study, in your man cave type of artwork, or are we talking to display
sure.
out?
Yeah.
Okay, then those would definitely be my choices. Or the Evil Dead.
Yeah, my wife,
poster.
she doesn't. My wife makes me stick my horror related stuff in and I get it, and I understand that. But even like I got a recent big giant Robert Smith from The Cure poster, black and white, real tasteful, cool. Photo.
Is it a photo of him from behind with a guitar by chance?
No, but I do have a shirt like that.
Okay,
but it's an Exorcist shirt, but instead of the priest, it's got Robert Smith's
I
silhouette.
see that one too. Yeah, okay, that's cool.
I love The Cure. It's a great band.
One of my favorites, absolute favorites. But yeah, she won't even. She doesn't really. She did say that maybe I could hang it in the bedroom because we got some cool black and white stuff, and this is just a big black and white thing. It doesn't have lettering and stuff like that. So
I could not hang the Butchered at Birth out anywhere. So,
yeah, man, guys, thanks so much for hanging out.
Thank you guys for having us on and talking about Stygian and Sky Media and everything. And
right on.
And I'm gonna put links.
Cheers to Paleo Cheese.
Paleo Cheese.
Yeah.
You guys rule.
Yeah. Kingmaker. Kingmaker. Yeah.
Also great on crackers.
Yeah.
We will get you guys out of here and have you on again sometime, probably.
All right, man. Anytime. I enjoyed it.
All right
guys.
Yep. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Maya. See you guys.